And a hitting crew for this exhibition, Brian O'Connell, Pat Driscoll, along with Nathan Farrell from the Big East.
Come out as the team that everyone is targeting.
Skip pass, and a three is an air ball and knocked out to the Tigers.
And, you know, Coach Pitino made a comment the other day. He wants this to be a program that is consistently in the top 10. That's important for name recognition for the Big East, for St. John's, and just making a stamp as a perennial, highly ranked program in the country. It's a good start being number 5.
And Towson last year, 22 wins, 16-2 in the CAA, and the pull-up misses for Tejada. And the rebound snared by St. John's and Ian Jackson.
A new team, new players here, new chemistry that we're going to find out soon enough. And early on, St. John's is going to try to play through the paint, get Zuby going, and the spacing should be much improved this year with the shooting addition of Sellers, Sanan, and Jackson. Those 3 guys alone bring a totally different assortment of offense with their ability to space the floor. They're all dynamic three-point shooters.
First foul, Tariq, on Towson's, Chike, and Defo from Elmont, New York, down the road here in Queens. Off the inbound, Sellers off the mark and pulled down by Mbea for Towson.
This Towson team returning 2 starters, and Tejada and Williamson being the alpha leaders of this team, and Tejada will get a lot of looks as he tries to penetrate and turns it over there.
And no score in this one, minute 15 gone by, getting the legs loose, getting into live competition. St. John's adding so many good shooters in the portal entering this year. As Ejiofor's spin, that popped out. Here comes Towson.
This Towson team playing man-to-man to come out and making Zuby work hard for his possessions as St. John's gets out.
Ian Jackson with the stuff and the first points for the Johnnies.
Well, you know, Rick Pitino teams want to play fast and play with pace, and this is the kind of team with so much athleticism and speed that early offense is what they're going to try to go to. Good start there with the Jackson dunk.
And Towson, conversely, wants to play tough, slow you down, meat grinder style.
That's exactly right. A tale of 2 styles here.
Doumbia, and intercepted and stolen. Sanan got in there with the hands.
And good job by Sanan being active with his hands in the passing lane. And at 6'4", he's got that size and length to be so disruptive.
Ejiofor for 3. Off the glass, and the long rebound taken by Doumbia. Right to the basket, denied by Zuby. And Defo, second chance. Almost. Still have a chance at the foul line, though, after the chase down swat by Zuby Ejiofor.
Well, Zuby Ejiofor is probably the best rim protector in the league, and he was one of the best shot blockers last year. Great job, great timing, and Sanan did a great job of kind of corralling Defo to the side of the basket where he didn't have an angle to get to the rim, and Zuby Ejiofor came in and cleaned it up.
Pat Scarry is very high on Defo, Tariq. His brother was part of the St. Peter's team, which Shane Holloway that went to the Elite Eight. He's from Elmont, New York, had a really good summer.
Yep, and Defo trying to carve out his own identity after his big brother had such a illustrious college career. They're very high on this young man. Just a redshirt freshman.
Tied at 2. Ejiofor crashing the glass. Goes up denied by Mbea, and it comes out of bounds to Towson. And that's part of the goal for the Tigers, make Zuby a little frustrated here in the early going. They've got the bodies to do it.
Well, they're going to have their hands full because Ejiofor is a tenacious offensive rebounder. The motor is what he brings to any defense trying to stop him. He just won't stop going after those loose balls, but great job by Towson on the defensive end.
And they break the pressure. Here's a man you talked about, Dylan Williamson, a junior, and really lit it up in the conference tournament down the stretch last year.
He's a big-time player. Point guard, scoring guard, fearless, and he is counted on to run the offense, get his team organized, but also be their primary perimeter threat.
Moonball 3 misses and knocked into the cheerleaders and out of bounds to St. John's. And now Pat Scarry is going to make a couple of substitutions. Bring on Tyler Schmidt, the transfer from Valparaiso.
Bryce Hopkins will come in for his first minutes of action. And the thing about this St. John's team, Ed, which is so exciting, is they have so many lineups, scenarios of playing big, playing small. Right now, with Hopkins in the game, he'll be the 4-man with Zuby Ejiofor at the 5. And, you know, Hopkins is not a traditional big man. He can step out, put it on the floor, and really bring that versatility to the game.
A quiet start for St. John's, 1 for 7. A tie game at 2 here in the exhibition. Sanun for 3, and that's good for the Johnnies.
And that's a good sign for Sanun and the Johnnies, because he is a guy that I won't say has the green light, but he has the green light.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense. They don't want him wasting any shots. He should be, I think he should take 8 to 10 threes a game. He is that good of a shooter. Big-time transfer from Arizona State.
Nearly 37% from 3 last year for Sanun in Tempe. 8 to shoot for Towson. Right now they're 0-4 from the field. Tejada, tough 3, and that's way short. Tipped out to Womack, the freshman. Can't bank it in. And that time Sellers ripped it down. It's going to stay with.
And always a great partner for these coaches, players, and us too, the broadcasters. Yep. Spent some time with him before the game, just updating us on the new rule changes this year. And he is just he's a great person. He's a great official, and it means a lot to the league.
It's official. He is not the best official in his house anymore.
That's
and
right.
No one's happier, I'm sure, than he is.
He's a proud dad for sure.
St. John's basketball, a couple of changes out of the timeout. Ejiofor, the spin, popped out. Good defense that time by Mbeya. St. John's 2 for 9 to start.
And they're getting good shots, unable to finish. That's the second time that Zuby Ejiofor's done a great job of getting deep post up, but unable to finish. He was looking for some contact, the foul there, foul call, but didn't go his way.
Dylan Darling wearing 0 in for St. John's with Ejiofor, Sellers, Sanun, and Hopkins. Step to his right, moonball 3 misses for Williamson. Get a second chance, it's Tejada. That's no good as he shoved by Sellers. And an air ball back to the Johnnies.
Well, the one thing that you'll see early on is St. John's is doing a great job of contesting all shots by Towson. There's been no...
2. Johnnies 2 for 9. Towson 0 for 8 to start. And yet it's a 5-2 game with over 5 gone by.
Ball reversal is so important to St. John's. If they can get some spacing, get the defense to shift, they want to keep that ball moving.
3-pointer is short. And kicked out of bounds. And last touch by Towson off the foot of Womack, who's saying, let's challenge. But it's a little early for that, and we went over the challenge rules,
yes,
Tariq, with the officials before the game.
It is a little early to use it because you only get one. And certainly with this much time left in the first half, you're better off holding on to that.
And Sellers gets a breather for St. John's. Rick Pitino turning to Lefteris Leotopoulos off the bench. The man from Greece misses the 3. On the weak side, it's snared by the Tigers. And their big guy, Morsek, at 7 foot. Nice take, but Towson 0 for 9 to start.
Great contest by Zuby Ejiofor again.
Yeah, wave it off. No continuation on the foul on the floor.
Well, when you're trying to build a new team, as Rick Pitino is, you depend on this guy right here, number 24, Zuby Ejiofor, to keep everyone connected and watch him recognize he had the mismatch, using his speed and quickness off the bounce. And he's going to make a living this year on the foul line because of his versatility.
13th foul on Towson. Here's Dylan Darling off the curl. Nice move, Leotopoulos gets the bounce.
And lefty Leftopoulos, one of the bright spots in the offseason, returns as a sophomore, is one of the most improved players on this team. He's improved his strength, his finishing ability, and at 6'5", he's got great size over smaller guards.
Here's the big man. A hook shot for Sek rather, and the first points for the Tigers from the field.
First paint points by the Towson Tigers, and Sek looked real comfortable with that jump hook.
Step back for Hopkins, off the mark from 18. Leotopoulos for 3. Yeah, we get a loose ball foul on the floor here on the Tigers. That's their 4th now in the first 7 minutes. And it goes against Morsek, the 7-foot senior who transferred in from Fresno State.
And I think that was Ejiofor who drew that foul, trying to attack the offensive glass, and that's why he's such a hard guy to stop with Ejiofor, because he's never standing still. He's always moving. Drew that foul on Sek.
And he's got 2 quick ones, a 7-footer. Leotopoulos. Here's Hopkins. Played sparingly the last 2 years at Providence. A prize pickup in the portal. Nice take, but too much from Ibinayo, and it's pulled down by Mbea.
The Tigers are doing a nice job of staying in front, not getting beat off the bounce, contesting. And they have been solid defensively, holding St. John's to just 7 points in the first 8 minutes.
Bobbled and stolen. And turnovers piling up early for Towson. Here come the Johnnies. Nice take by Hopkins, but it left just short.
Everything a little short early on by the Johnnies, and that's why these exhibitions are so helpful.
Towson today, Michigan at the Garden next week for St. John's.
That's right. It gets real after that.
And Tejada with a chance at 3. Blocking foul underneath on St. John's, and the prize returnee will get a free throw for Towson.
Well, Tejada brings versatility to this Towson team, and you saw it there. Just a strong drive off the bounce at 6'9", no problem elevating over Ayo, and the contact doesn't bother him because he's one of the stronger players on the floor.
St. John's makes another change. In comes the freshman Kelvin Odie in place of Ibinayo. And Tariq, mid-major basketball, when you're trying to retain guys, a lot of times you're hoping to get them for a year, obviously. The great ones, maybe 2 max. But when you get a 3rd year out of them, they come back again. It's massive. And to get Williamson and Tejada, if you're Pat Scarry, was just so important for his program entering a year where they're trying to make it 5 straight 21 seasons.
Absolutely. And I talked to Coach Scarry just about that. And he said, we're fortunate that we've got great kids that come from great families that don't necessarily want to chase the next opportunity when they know they have a good thing here. They're happy, they love the coaching staff, and they feel like they can get better and still accomplish their goals of playing in the NBA from staying right where they started here in Towson.
7-6 St. John's, almost 8 minutes expired. It's been one of those games you say, hey, team shaking off the early season rust? Yes, St. John's 3 of 15, Towson is 2 for 11 to start. Give and go, and the reversal and foul. Hopkins, a chance at 3, and a great find by Ruben Prey.
That was beautiful, extend this lead, and early on it's been a back-and-forth battle. And, you know, you expect that early on. This is their first time playing against someone other than themselves. They've been beating each other up for over, you know, a couple months now if you include the summer. And now they get a chance to play against someone in a different uniform. And it takes a little time, and you can see that early on. And this is a team that's still figuring out how they want to play together. And that was a nice sequence that we just saw, Ed, with Bryce Hopkins, a little give and go. He has a chance to be phenomenal. One of the best players in the Big East, Bryce Hopkins, as he was before his injury at Providence.
Yeah, a tough couple of years with the left knee. Up and under, misses that time for Towson, but it's batted out to Williamson. No reset of the shot clock. You know, Hopkins last year played just 3 games. Bone bruise in his left knee, the one he tore 2 years ago, which held him to 14 games. So a combined 17 games the last 2 years. Off the steal, Darling unloads to Jackson. Spacing wasn't there. It's kicked around and stolen by the Tigers. St. John's, their first turnover.
Well, you said it exactly right. No spacing there for Darling to complete that pass, and he telegraphed it with his eyes. The defense just read his eyes and knew that he was going to try to dish it to Jackson and intercepted the pass.
They fronted Tejada off the ball. Pull up for Doumbia is good. Don't know if he called it, but around it in.
Doesn't matter, though. It went in.
Jack Doumbia Jr., the transfer from Wright State. 9-8 St. John's. Towson with their 3rd field goal. There's Hopkins. And Jackson with 10 to shoot. Hopkins a spin and the touch.
He looks really good, and he is so versatile right there. Just creates space with a nice bounce. Explosive first step allowed him to get that shot up over the defense. And the touch, he's always had that.
He has 4 points. One of all Big East's first team with Providence 2 years ago. 3 is good from the corner. It's Doumbia for Towson.
Well, Doumbia is someone they're really excited about. A transfer from Wright State. 6'6".
Nice collection by Prey with the left denied. Second chance for St. John's. It's Jackson right into traffic. Follow slam miss for Odie. And nearly hurt himself, but he braced in time. Doumbia drives baseline and a blocking foul on Ruben Prey for the Johnnies.
This is a Towson team that is not known for playing up-tempo. They had one of the slowest tempo paces in the country last year. I believe they were 346 in pace out of like 360 teams. But they will try to push it when they have opportunities, especially off of a miss or a turnover. And that was a nice push by them there to get the ball up quickly.
So you're saying slow, slower, and they've had some years where they've been the slowest.
That's right.
That's okay.
It all involves slow. But with Williamson, they want him to be aggressive and push the ball. Also Tejada when he gets the ball off the miss.
There he is. Too much on the 3. Rebounded Darling. St. John's transfer from Washington State and Idaho State after that. A terrific shooter among the many they brought in. Scored over 19 a game last year. Big Sky Player of the Year. But he coughs it up. And St. John's with their second giveaway. Womack nails the 3, and Towson with their first lead today.
Well, they are not going away. They're playing good defense. That's the first thing. And they have been able to take St. John's out of rhythm. And just active hands. St. John's has got to be a little bit more attentive with their ball security, stronger with the ball. And St. John's calls a timeout.
Quick 5-0 burst by Towson here with under 9 left in the first half. A 14-11 lead for the Tigers. They met last year, Tariq, in the exhibition season. St. John's won by 18, but again, it was tight. They had to pull away late to win. These games, I mean, you're Rick Pitino's team. You press, you play fast, you can go 6 great players deep, but really 10 deep on any given night. You're Towson. You play slow and methodically, but they're integrating new pieces around their 2 stars. These games are kind of perfect to lay the table, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why you know Coach Pitino and Pat Scarry are using this as a way to get better for their teams and something to kind of look and say, this is where we are in our team in terms of what we can do better, what we need to work on. And Towson has come out in his last couple of minutes and been able to hit some jump shots, and that has loosened up the defense. This man right here, Doumbia, hit 2 long 2s, and then they hit a 3 after that. So this is a team, it's a game of runs. Right now, the Tigers have the momentum, up 3.
Darling running the point for the Johnnies out of the timeout, and he misses Ejiofor, which if you're Rick Pitino, out of a timeout, that'll drive you nuts.
It sure will. There's nothing that drives a coach crazy than losing a possession off of a turnover coming out of a timeout. They drew that play up specifically to get the ball to Ejiofor, and the pass was not there.
Yeah, giving Darling some run here at the point. It's going to be a rotational position for St. John's. You figure Sellers their best point guard, but others will be in the mix. Lost the footing, lost the ball. Saved by Womack. He fires, and misses strong. Weak side battle for the rebound. And look out, Hopkins into his coaches, and out of bounds to Towson. This has not been a Rembrandt by any stretch.
No. Yeah, it's to be expected. I mean, you don't expect this to be a smooth, flowing game for either team. You'd like that to happen, but it's not realistic. And right now, I got to credit this Towson Tiger team. They've come in here on the road, They just came off. They had a scrimmage versus Rutgers about a week ago, and Pat Scarry described that as a rock fight. It was like a 54-51 game. I believe Rutgers won that game, but it was still a game that they both learned from. And same thing goes for this game. St. John's trying to learn who they have, what kind of rotations they can use, and Towson doing the same.
Yeah, St. John's with Darling at the point of attack defending with Hopkins, Ejiofor, Sanun, and Jackson. So this is a primary group right now for the Johnnies. 8 to shoot for Towson. Up and under, denied that time.
Great block by Sanun.
Darling slips it at the feet of Ejiofor and rolls to Hopkins, who scores.
Broken play, but Hopkins has a knack for the ball and the explosiveness with this third basket of the game. He's come off the bench and really been a standout guy early on in this first half.
14-13 Tigers. Towson, the pick to win the CAA again, received 7 first-place votes out of 13 as the ball's kicked by Jackson and the shot clock at 20 when play resumes from Queens. Exhibition season underway.
Yes.
The place was bumping. There was the laser show, which at the time was a huge deal.
Yeah.
30 years ago, I think Felipe Lopez didn't win the dunk contest, but Rowan Barrett did.
Rowan Barrett, yes. Good man. Your good memory. That's a flashback. You just brought me back to that.
Well, I mean, I stole a clip 3 days ago for a minute, but
doing your research, yeah.
That was a year, and I'm not comparing it to this year, but the expectation, you're what, a junior at the time, Felipe comes in. I mean, that night had to feel like the start of something, didn't it?
It was electric. We actually were all freshmen, me, Felipe, and Zendon Hamilton. That was our freshman year, and it was a moment I'll never forget. We were on Midnight Madness, ESPN, and the excitement was incredible.
And different expectations this season as Williamson strokes the three. He's got a nice shot there, his first points here today.
Nice ball movement by Towson allowed Williamson to get that open three. And they are starting to shoot the ball better in this last 2-3 minute stretch. Towson is.
For the Johnnies, you have Sellers back in with Hopkins, Ejiofor, Jackson, and Sanun. And Jackson for the Bronx, the three off the dribble misses. And here is Dylan Williamson from the state of Maryland, the junior. Last year in the CAA tournament was dynamite, 18 of 32 from 3 in their last 4 games total. The roll and the foul, as Sanun met it at the foul line, but he's called for reaching in for his first today.
Yeah, when I talked to Pat Scarry about Williamson, he said he is the guy who wants the ball when the game is on the line. He's not afraid to take the big shot, and you know, he plays with a real steady demeanor, but he's a guy that they really feed off his energy, his leadership. It's him and Tejada that they really count on, but Williamson at the point guard, obviously.
Look out.
That almost was a steal by Darling, but Williamson was able to muscle it from him. But, you know, Williamson is that guy that controls things from the point guard position, but also can really score it.
Here he is now. No, Darling trying to stay with him. The running teardrop goes for Williamson.
And he just had Darling on skates there after making the three before. It opened up his inside game.
Nice over the top. And Dylan Mitchell with the finish for St. John's as that ends the run for Towson. A 6-0 spurt, but right now it's a 4-point game. Doumbia had to pick it up. Trying to get it back. Coming our way. Towson, a low turnover team historically under Pat Scarry. Oh, stop and go. Doumbia fouled at the rim is inside out dribble.
Yeah, a nice heads up move is what they call that, where you freeze the defender and make him think you're going to take a shot, and got Zuby Ejiofor in the air. And Doumbia, you know, who knocked down a couple jump shots, which is why Ejiofor had to go out and contest. Doumbia kind of froze him and was able to get to the lane off the bounce.
way short as Leotopoulos re-enters for St. John's in place of Sellers.
A lot of rotations we've seen by Coach Pitino so far.
No question.
At least 8 or 9 different lineups. And this is a team that is 10 deep. And certainly the first 7 or 8 guys are all good enough to start.
And this will stay with the Tigers off Sanun. And now it's Tyler Schmidt back in for Towson in place of Doumbia. Talked to Matt Abdelmassi, the St. John's general manager. He's put so much of this roster together along with the coaching staff. And they view the top 6, whether it's Jackson off the bench, Hopkins off the bench. I mean, what a spoil of riches, if you will, for a team that's coming off a number 2 seed in the tournament.
Well, you know, that was the goal coming in this offseason, is to improve your roster and give yourself a chance to go to a Final Four. And they feel like this is a team that has that kind of talent. And I agree. We don't know what it's going to look like yet, but in terms of talent, you know, 1 through 6, 1 through 7, they have as good a unit talent-wise as anyone in the country.
And if Billie Jean King down the road at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center has the plaque that says pressure is a privilege, if St. John's embodies that as we get a kick ball on St. John's here and giving it back to Towson. But this St. John's team, Tariq, they're not running away from the expectations and the pressure. They're running to it. And they've had to talk about it internally and even publicly, but it's going to be there. They know it, and I think in many ways they're prepared for what's to come.
Yeah, they are. And you come to St. John's to play for Coach Pitino because you want that pressure, because that means you're doing something that everyone wants. And the excitement that was in the Garden last year, going undefeated at home and having the city, you know, just locked in is what you want. As Tejada and Williamson are now starting to take over this game, up 7. St. John's has not been able to stop either of those guys in this last 5-minute stretch. It's a critical point in the game.
Yeah, Towson 4 of 11 from 3 now. Sanun for 2, and that's a nice 18-footer for Sanun.
Well, Sanun is a 6'4", dynamite scoring guard that can play on or off the ball. He's had a phenomenal preseason, and he is a guy who can really hurt you a variety of ways, off the bounce or off the catch.
Tejada across the lane, steps, misses on the fadeaway. Ejiofor stayed with him, and it's gone back to the Johnnies.
Is highly respected in terms of their ability to motivate, teach, and on the same page with Coach Pitino in terms of what he expects from these guys. And that's important to have a staff that's totally connected when you bring in so many new players. 10 new guys on this team this year. The staff's so important to get those guys to buy in.
That's the group. You love the continuity, and you love the fact that there's still one guy who's running individual workouts every morning and throughout the summer.
That's
and
right.
He happens to be in his 70s and a Hall of Famer.
And with no signs of slowing down either.
Tejada on a fall away, and that's good for Towson.
Well, Tejada's starting to use his size, and you know, right there he just lifted right over the defense at 6'9" and had an isolation situation where he could get to his spot.
Dylan Mitchell with the ball, the transfer from Cincinnati. Mitchell with the left, and left it short over Tejada.
Good defense by Tejada, and there's been very little activity on the offensive glass for the Red Storm. Zubi Ejiofor has not been as effective. A lot of that has to do with Towson being physical and blocking out.
And Williamson with a tough corner tray. That's his second 3.
And he takes a ton of threes, and you cannot come out to him with your hands down. Darling was not in a position to contest.
A 10-point Towson lead. Sanun misses. $1:43 to go. And Williamson will slowly bring it up for the visitors.
Pat Scarry is telling his team, we don't want to run. We want to work the clock. There's a
Mitchell for the secondary break. Darling will slow it up. Leotopoulos explodes for 2.
Quick first step by Lefty. That's what they call him. Leotopoulos looking good in the sophomore year.
Eric Pitino. And Pat O'Connell, Parfait Baiti, who played at Rhode Island, Chris Conway among the assistants for the Tigers.
Well, they've done a great job. Pat Scario was Coach of the Year last year, and he's come close to winning Coach of the Year a couple other years previous to that. The thing about this league is a very good league, but it's a one-bid league in most cases, and you have to win your conference tournament. So, you know, it puts a lot more pressure on you as a coach.
No, giving up. Pass back, and Hopkins to swipe in the finish.
Hopkins has been the bright spot for the Red Storm in this first half. As he looks explosive, he's active, and everything is going to the rim, showing that athleticism that we're so used to seeing.
He has 8 points. He's made 4 shots. About 3 seconds between the clocks, and Williamson of the Tigers will slow it up. Get a good shot down the stretch.
3 second differential here.
They've shot 40%. They're 5 of 12 from 3. 5 to shoot. Williamson between the legs. Fadeaway for 3. In and out. 1 second ago. Ejiofor at the buzzer, and that is off the mark. First half, St. John's shot 32%. Down 29-21 against Towson.
Yeah, and you got to give Towson credit. They outplayed St. John's for 20 minutes, and a lot of that has to do with their defensive effort, keeping Zuby Ejiofor off the glass and making it a half-court game. They did not let St. John's get out of transition. St. John's, they're still
those two guys. And St. John's, a lot of rotations early in this game. They'll begin the second with Hopkins, who came off the bench early, along with Mitchell, Ejiofor, Sellers, and Jackson.
Yeah, bigger lineup for St. John's with Hopkins in the first 5, and he'll play the 3 with Sellers and Jackson in the backcourt.
Here's Williamson, quick 3, short that time, and crashing into Mitchell for the rebound.
Well, Mitchell, they love his athleticism. He can ignite the break.
Now look out, Doumbia the steal and the stuff.
Well, that was a situation where Doumbia got in the passing lane, but Hopkins has got to come meet the ball instead of waiting for the ball to come to him.
Zuby, and still scoreless in the field. And over.
Well defended there, again.
Ejiofor, Tariq, is 0 for 6. 31-21 Towson.
Bay has done a good job of staying on his feet, using his length, and not allowing Ejiofor to back him down.
Now Rick Pitino rushed to get Ruben Prey off the bench and will take the spot of Ejiofor. And that was an instant reaction from Rick Pitino and Steve Masiello.
So, you know, Rick Pitino is trying to figure out how guys react. He's not playing mind games here. He's just trying to, you know, he went out so Coach Masiello could show him something on film. Yep. So it's a teaching moment here, and he'll be right back in the game. Ejiofor will, I'm sure.
And the man from Lisbon, Portugal, Ruben Prey, drive and kick, open 3, Jackson. Off the heel of the rim. There comes the run out for Doumbia. Splits 2 and is going to the line for 2 shots for Towson.
You got to like Doumbia's burst and his ability to push the ball and play with speed. He has been active all game. And there he just splits 2 defenders. He knew that he was going to be able to get through. But he takes the contact also and gets to the foul line.
And the guys added via the portal. Doumbia from Wright State. You throw in Tyler Schmidt from Valparaiso. Both guys were double-digit scorers last year in their respective leagues. You don't need all of that scoring when you have Williamson and Tejada, but you can now slot guys in, perhaps to take some of the defensive load off the other 2.
Yeah, talking to Coach Scary, he said we need 3 guys. We need to have 3 core guys, and Doumbia certainly is one of the guys he had in mind, along with obviously Tejada and Williamson being your primary offensive players.
Sellers from Stanford. Here's Hopkins, entry to Prey, the turn and finish as his jersey was pulled.
Yeah, nice dump-in pass and a great job by Prey sealing. He got low and sealed in Baya and was able to get an easy layup in the paint.
First St. John's field goal this half. Here's Tejada. A bit of a homecoming from Teaneck. Gets it back from Williamson. Runner was well defended by Mitchell.
And Mitchell got a piece of that. Great job with the block.
Hopkins for Jackson trailing the 3 is good.
Well, that's that up-tempo pace that St. John's wants to play. A nice look by Hopkins and easy catch and shoot for the sophomore Jackson, one of the better shooters on this team.
Second St. John's 3 today. And steps. Picked up the pivot foot against Jackson. Now is Doumbia.
Well, all you need is a little momentum to turn things around if you're St. John's. And Jackson hits a 3 and then does a great job of defending the ball and causes the turnover. Coach Pitino hope that carries over.
Ozias Sellers, where's number 4 for St. John's? Jackson gives it up to Doumbia. Another steal, flips it up, and scores. How about Jack Doumbia Jr. for Towson?
And that was a horse shot right there, high off the glass.
He's got an exhibition H. Drop step, Hopkins, banker, no, but he'll shoot 2 for the Johnnies.
Well, St. John's is really starting to show better signs of offensive fluidity when they get the ball in the paint, whether it's Prey on the seal before or Hopkins with a nice duck in. Playing inside out, whether it's in transition or in the half court, has served them well.
Yeah, Tariq, last year, so much of the talk beyond the great defense was the lack of consistent three-point shooting for St. John's. From the foul line, they were at 69% as well, and Rick Pitino wants to see that climb too in this 3rd season.
Well, they gave so many points away on the foul line, and think about that. They were 31-5 with just a below-average three-point shooting team and a below-average pool.
So no deflection, but the inbounds will come on this side for St. John's off the turnover.
That's right.
You have Hopkins, Jackson, Prey, Mitchell, and Sellers for the Johnnies. Ruben Prey on an island. Here's Jackson. Jackson drives it, denied but fouled. Body before the shot. Yeah, Patrisco with the whistle that time.
And nice job by Jackson getting in the paint off the drive. But it was set up by the ball reversals. A couple times they switched sides of the court, and that's when Towson's defense is vulnerable because they're not in position. Jackson saw a lane and took advantage of it.
Second foul on the freshman Womack for Towson. And Tariq Jackson, as he misses the first. 9th-ranked prospect in the transfer portal. 39% last year from 3 as a freshman at North Carolina. And Rick Pitino said he's probably the most improved basketball player that he's had with him over the summer months. Really likes where his game has gone, where he has gone in his time here at St. John's.
Yeah, they're very impressed with him. Said he's one of the most impressive young men they've ever coached. He's always looking for feedback, always in the film room with the coaches trying to get better. And you see St. John's trying to pick up the pace defensively, a little full court action, full court press, extending their defense out, trying to speed Towson up now.
Williamson with it, slings for Tejada. Taylor Tejada on the fall away, that won't go. Nash touched inside by Sek for Towson.
And that was one of the first possessions we've seen where St. John's picked up full court. They're not necessarily trying to steal it, but they're trying to speed it up And Towson is not a team that wants to play extremely fast.
34-28 Towson. St. John's down by 8 at halftime. Here's Mitchell. Great dunker in his time in the Big 12. Hopkins thought about it. It's Sellers for 3. Back of the iron, tapped up. And there's Tejada with the rebound. He's 6'9", a bit slimmed down, says Pat Scarry.
Yeah, he is, a versatile guy that can handle it. He can pass it. That's the part they really saw improvement on in his game is his playmaking ability.
Williamson fights for position and hits.
Big-time offensive player and a big-time shot by Williamson. One-on-one, just gets to his.
Get all of the ESPN college basketball you need all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with the ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider. How does that feel, right? We're getting close to November 3rd, opening night in college basketball. And first of 2 exhibitions for St. John's. Michigan next week at the Garden. Ruben Prey, hook shot with the right this time, misses. And there's a 7-footer, Sek with the rebound.
Well, Sek is a problem with his size for St. John's. All he has to do is elevate his arms, and he is disruptive.
Schmidt, deep 3. And way off that time for Towson. Saved by Tejada's in, but plays there for St. John's. So none for the trailer. Mitchell down low, and Sellers with the finish.
Broken play. It was kind of a scramble play where Towson was trying to get back, but good ball movement by the Red Storm. And again, St. John's has been able to kind of chip away a little bit in this deficit by getting the ball in the paint.
Johnny's this half 3 of 7. Behind the back, gets away and a steal. Good closeout by Hopkins. It's Sellers again, tucks it up and under, and he's going to shoot 2 with 14:15 to play.
Well, you got to know that St. John's wants to play at a different speed, and they're starting to speed the game up by ball movement. Guys are running the lanes harder, and Sellers takes advantage of that driving ability. Here's just a great stop by Hopkins, cutting off the ball, and everyone that gets the ball off a miss or a turnover in Coach Pitino's system, they are expected to push the ball up the court fast. Whether with a look-ahead pass or a quick dribble, they want to play with speed and pace.
And Tariq Sellers, point guard ability. Last year, over 14 points per game at Stanford. In the ACC, he shot 45% from three-point range, and you listen to him speak, and he wants the big stage. He said he's a West Coast kid. He's been out there his entire life. He wanted New York. He wanted Rick Pitino, and boy, do they want him as well.
He's a great fit. Great young man. Extremely hard worker.
Off the press, Mitchell. Finger roll is good. Timeout, Towson. Wow. Quick moving. Obviously last year, one for the ages, winning the Big East Championship, the tournament, number 2 seed, falling in the second round, obviously. So heightened expectations entering this year. Foul here on Mitchell for reaching in for St. John's. That's their 3rd this half.
Well, the expectations are certainly high. We know that. And it's because Rick Pitino demands excellence. And, it's harder now, I think, because we have 10 new guys on the roster if you're Rick Pitino as a coach. And same thing for Pat Scarry. Even though they've retained more players, they focus more on retention than bringing in guys for the transfer. But every year it takes time to build a program the way you want it. And Coach Pitino knows there's going to be some ups and downs.
And the facility, a huge part of it. Nice cut. Left it short. Good challenge there by Hopkins against Mbeya. And knocked out of bounds by the Johnnies. Facility's important. The Garden's important. St. John's, Tariq, with 12 games this season at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I mean, it's all coming together. And you think it's, you think this happens overnight, but it hasn't. Coach Pitino has been instrumental in his leadership in terms of what a high-caliber program looks like carrying over from last year to this year.
Dangerous inbounds, but there's Doumbouya. Darling in for St. John's, guarding the ball. With Prey, you have Ibn Ayo, Mitchell, and Sanan. 4 to shoot. Williamson, quick release. Batted around, another chance for Towson. It's Tejada. Bumped by Mitchell, fires, misses, rebound, Ibn Ayo.
Great defense by Mitchell. Got in the stance, didn't get beat, and contested, finished with a rebound.
St. John's this half, outscoring Towson by 6. Mitchell gets it back now from Ibn Ayo. Ruben Prey for 3. And nearly got a piece of John Minko on the radio call here for the exhibition.
Yeah, quick hands. Somebody saved him. We don't want Mink getting hurt, but this is a lineup in St. John's that's not great spacing, with the exception of Sellers. And Coach Pitino trying to go big here with Hopkins staying at the 3, Ruben Prey at the 5, and Mitchell at the 4.
Doumbouya blows by Prey, but it's given up to Hopkins. Active hands all game. Mitchell streaking, tripped. Good save by Hopkins. Sanan nails the long 2, and we're tied up.
And making the extra pass, and Sanan with that beautiful stroke. Quick release, and St. John starting to get some energy in this building. The fans like what they see.
36 all. Prey swipes, another steal, and Hopkins helicopter down, no whistle. And a steal by Sanan.
And that was Hopkins with the deflection, and great hustle by Sanan.
For 3. Mitchell, no. And the rebound taken by Mbea. But for the first time today, you could feel the stands begin to shake.
Yep, you can feel it and you can hear it. This crowd is ready to get off their feet. And the ball pressure of St. John's is starting to become more disruptive. The shot clock winds down.
8 to shoot. Tejada nowhere to go against Hopkins. Williamson contested and off the mark. But a loose ball foul. It's on Mbea for Towson. And that's his first.
Potentially give St. John's the lead. And it feels like this is a possible momentum changer for the Red Storm, although this Towson team has played really well. But this defensive effort by the Red Storm in the second half has been more intense in terms of the ball pressure, deflections. Hopkins has been active. Ruben Prey has given him a lift off the bench. And now St. John's goes up 2. And the ball.
Those 2 free throws giving St. John's their first lead since it was 11-8 with 10:36 left in the first half. Yeah, Sellers last year shot 89% at the foul line in ACC play with Stanford. 38-36 Johnnies. You have Sellers back out there. Sanan, Prey, Hopkins, and Ibn Ayo. Prey seals. Back door.
Nice
Reverse. It's in. Ibn Ayo.
And that's the second assist by Ruben Prey, finding the cutter. And then when they cut hard like that, Ibn Ayo is going to make something happen with the athleticism and the nice timing. And, of course, the precise pass by Prey. Nice give-and-go action.
You made a great point. It's like you've got shooters now on this roster. That's what St. John's addressed mostly in the portal. But if you add Ejiofor and Prey with their passing abilities, different ball game, right?
And Hopkins. You got 3 guys that are good with and without the ball, and they can make their players better. And I think the spacing and the shooting can make that even more of a weapon for St. John's on the offensive end, because you can't load up on the ball handler as easily when you have shooting around you.
A three-point play for Ibinayo. St. John's a 41-36 lead, a 13-0 run in under 4 minutes, and it's answered by Doumbia with the three.
Doumbia has been really impressive. His shot-making ability and his ability to be an athlete in the open court.
Ruben Prey to the left. 7-footer. Morsek the rebound.
Morsek is hard to score on.
Crossover, Doumbia, yes, for Towson, tie game.
That was just a breakdown of the defensive presence there, and a great drive by Doumbia.
Ibinayo with the answer.
So both teams going back and forth here. Here's a steal.
The stumble, the denial, and the ball back to Towson. Under 10 left. I mean, you love this, right? If you're a player, it's exhibition season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is what you want. You want live game opportunities, live game action.
Here's Tejada with 7 to shoot for Towson. Behind the back. Big step and gets the roll.
Better offense. Tejada cramped his, looks like he cramped his calf. That was a big-time shot by Tejada and well defended, but Bryce Hopkins thought he had him cut off, but Tejada able to finish. Hopefully he's okay.
You mentioned cramp. That's always a better word to hear in real time. And, hey, listen, maybe it's a cramp, and he's all right. It's going to come off for now. It's an exhibition. We'll see if he makes his way back out there here with 9:12 left.
Yeah, he's over on the bench stretching it. It looks like it was a cramp. Those things happen. And hopefully he's back in the game soon.
Dylan Darling in for St. John's. So a rest for Sellers. Ejiofor as well. They took him out in the first minute of this half for a teaching lesson, if you will. Here he is now. Hopkins for Ejiofor. Isolated with the big fella. Sek leans into him and will shoot two. Yeah, more Sek at 7 feet. Obviously, that's not easy in terms of foul trouble. But Sek right now with his 4th for Towson.
Well, I like the fact that St. John's got Ejiofor the ball right away, and he took his time. He did a great job of got his feet set and a nice shot fake to keep Sek off balance to draw the foul.
Zuby with his first, and that one's good. And Zuby Ejiofor with that free throw, his first point today. Is it okay to FaceTime your kids during the game of an exhibition? I think
anytime,
it's all right.
Anytime.
Mid-season form, right?
Mid-season form, and they look like they're watching the game. Or maybe they're watching you.
Zach is my 3-year-old. I think we're losing Ben. The 5-year-old's a lot of energy.
Yeah, I see it.
And there's Mom.
Hi, Mom.
All right, guys. Usually my son hangs up on me. Now he just did.
And here's that full court pressure. And Towson handles it beautifully off the pass.
Nice defense, Ejiofor. And calling for the loose ball is Coleman. He's whistled. And Towson in the penalty. That's their 9th. Then St. John's again will go 1-1.
Well, I said Towson handled it beautifully, and they did in terms of getting the ball up the court quickly. But when they got the ball over half court, they played a little bit too fast, and that's another advantage of that pressure by St. John's. They speed you up and make you play out of your normal pace.
And Hopkins earns another one.
And Bryce Hopkins, before he got hurt in Providence a year and a half ago, was one of the best players in the country. And when I watched him in the summer in practice, I said, I want to see if he has that same kind of burst and that athleticism. And it was clear he has it. He is back 100%. He's not thinking about his injuries. And we've seen flashes of that today, Ed, with the burst and the speed, the ability to guard 1 through 5 and create his own shot. What a huge advantage to have him for Coach Pitino.
Now he gets a breather with 11 points. He's 4 of 7, 3 of 5 at the foul line. And Pitino talked about it this week, how he wants him not just to be happy and solid, but to be passionate and want the absolute best, that killer mentality, if you will.
Yep.
Didn't start him today. Not so much any punishment or anything like that, more a message like, hey, you're going to have to really earn this.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it takes the time to learn how to play under Coach Pitino because he expects premier effort in every time you're on the court. You can't coast. And I think Coach Pitino has felt like he can get more out of Bryce Hopkins by staying on him and expecting him to be at his best effort-wise every time he steps on the floor.
Double bonus for St. John's on that armbar there from Mbaya. He picks up his third, had a technical earlier as well. And you mentioned the free throw shooting, how they struggled last year. St. John's this half, edge of 4 is good. 12 for 14. That's about 85%.
That's good math.
Wow, that's it, think of math for you. But it just shows, look, it's going to get tougher, and there's going to be more on the line, high leverage situations. But if they can continue this, even if it's not at 85%, it's going to be massive when they get into the Big East.
Absolutely. And this man, Ejiofor, will make a killing on the foul line as he did last year. He's probably the most, I think he took more foul shot attempts per game than anyone else on the team last year, and I expect that to happen again. Just based on his style of play and his ability to rebound.
8-minute mark. St. John's up 50-43. Yeah, we got a whistle and a stoppage.
Certainly trying to duplicate that accomplishment from last year, get back to the Big East Championship.
Oh, so close to a clean block that time against Stephen Io, but he's whistled by Nathan Farrell, and 2 shots coming for Towson. Media Day is this week at Madison Square Garden for the Big East. You figure that Zuby Ejiofor likely to be the Big East preseason player of the year.
Yep.
I mean, what a 12 months for Zuby Ejiofor, going from a transfer from Kansas and a guy coming off a solid but not impressive year for St. John's to most improved, clutch, the buzzer beaters, the big rebounds, the joy, and the biggest story, the return for another crack at it this year.
Yeah, it's been an amazing run for him. He had to wait his turn. He played behind Joel Soriano his first year here and didn't complain, just brought his hard hat, outworked everybody every game, every practice, but didn't have the role of a starter until last year, which is when he broke out. And now he is the man and relishing that opportunity as the captain of this St. John's team.
Here's Zuby, look back door, instead keeps it himself. Ejiofor ducks and gets the bounce.
Oh, he's playing much more under control, and when they took him out early in the second half, he went straight to the film to watch some clips of him with Steve Masiello, the associate head coach, and I think they probably said, look, you don't have to rush. Take your time. If they double you, find the open man. If they play single, then you can score the ball.
Yeah, turnover by the Tigers. That's their 16th of the game.
Well, the pressure has, the ball pressure has been much more effective for St. John's. They're in the passing lanes. They're not giving them any angles, Towson, to get to the rim. And now they're on the verge of extending this to a double-digit lead. It starts on the defensive end.
10,000 turnovers this half. Even Io. Ejiofor wants it.
Zuby
jostling
wants the ball.
inside. Oh, he still wants it. Avoids 3 seconds, gets the ball back, but couldn't hold on to it. Oh, it should have been a travel. And now we get a jump. Now the arrow says it's St. John's ball. And I think it's going to go back to the Red Storm.
Great hustle by Sanan, getting on the floor to tie that ball up.
Now they're conferring. I saw one St. John's player saying, was there an elbow? And that's what the 3 officials are discussing.
It looked clean, looked like clean hustle to me.
Yep. He's going to summon Pat Scarry first. Now, I said this at the top. I mean, this is, it's an exhibition. Now, these guys are getting their reps as well. Let's take another look.
There's a scrum on the floor. And Bayo first to the floor, and then Sanan. Was there an elbow there?
A little bit of a chicken wing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. But did it meet the criteria for a flagrant foul?
I'll let that go.
As a coach and as a player, there's familiarity with the good officials. And you have Brian O'Connell, Pat Driscoll, Nathan Farrell as well. But the two on the left in particular, and nothing against Nathan Farrell, but the other two have been around so long, have handled so many big games. It's not so much, they make great calls. It's the control of a game over the course of 40 minutes.
That's right.
And that's what you trust. Let's take another look.
There's nothing there. I don't see anything. But this is, it's an exhibition for the officials too. So even though it's a veteran crew, every year is different, and they've got to review it as they want to make sure they're not missing anything. But 6.5 minutes to go. St. John's up 8, Ed, and I think what you've seen in the last, really since Zuby came back on the court, is they are getting better execution with their inside-out play. This has not been a game for St. John's where they've delivered from 3 very efficiently. And Towson, on the other hand, has hung in there mainly from the efforts of Doumbia, Williamson, and Tejada. Those 3 have carried them.
No, the officials have broken from the monitor. They're now discussing amongst themselves if there's anything flagrant or intentional from the elbow, or a potential elbow from Mbea into the chin of Sanan. And now Nathan Farrell's going to come over to us and give us a little explanation. Tariq taking off the headset, and we'll get briefed on the situation.
During that,
you
we
can
have
hear
a
a little bit of it.
ball tech for an elbow to the face by 23, Towson. He's going to be gone, yes. Okay.
Tariq, you got the full recap. He is done for the game now.
Yep. They're going to say it was a contact elbow to the face from Mbaya, number 23. That's his second technical foul, which is unfortunate for Towson. He is really one of their key interior players. And then for St. John's, that sends them to the foul line for another 2-shot technical foul and the ball.
And here's another angle. All right.
I see it there.
Rear back.
Yeah, rear back. Yep.
And it took maybe a little longer than what they would have liked, but you get it right. And obviously, if you're Mbea, you live and learn. This can't be something of consequence in conference play, certainly when things are on the line later in February and March. But for the time being, gets ejected after a second tech in this exhibition.
Yeah, there's a difference between playing intense with intensity and physicality and crossing that line, and he did that there. You can't make contact with a player above the neck, especially. That is an automatic technical foul.
54-44 St. John's. A complete turnaround here since halftime when they were down by 8. 18-point swing. Darling relocates. Edge of 4 wants it again at the edge of the lane. Reset with 8 to shoot. And a 3-pointer for Sadiku Ibinayo.
Ibinayo, one of the returning players on the St. John's team. They well-loved, well-respected. His leadership, his toughness, and he's really made himself into an effective shooter, knocking down his second 3 off a catch and shoot.
There have been a lot of rotations. You mentioned a lot of different lineups for St. John's. Ball looked kicked, but a clean deflection by Ibinayo. Shot clock at 8 for Towson. But I think we're really starting to see where this St. John's team could go 9, 10, maybe even 11 deep on certain nights.
Well, that's the hope. I mean, they have the talent, and that is a work in progress in how they want to play their rotations, as Mitchell with a nice back down. Dylan Mitchell, one of the more experienced players on this team. And St. John's has it going now, up 15, going into the timeout.
A little like last year's exhibition. Slow start, you figure things out against a veteran team, well-coached team. And St. John's outscoring Towson by 23 this half, a 59-44 advantage.
Eben Ayo has given them a lift off the bench. Not afraid to do the dirty work. Sometimes it doesn't show up in the stats, but it's part of winning. And in the shooting, that's something he's really worked hard on. Came here as a transfer from Iona, not as a shooter, but more as a defender. But now he has made himself into a respectable shooter, a very good shooter, I should say. And that came off a great ball movement by the Red Storm, making the extra pass, allowing a clean look.
Rick Pitino, the godfather of the three-point shot of college basketball. When the line was introduced, other teams were very hesitant to jump in. His Providence team did in '87. They went to the Final Four. Right now he's enlisted numerous shooters and some of the returning guys upping their game from beyond the arc, as we had a whistle off the ball on Mitchell. Got tangled with Sek. St. John's with their 16th foul this half, so now no more to give. I'm curious from you, Tariq. A guy like Ejiofor last year as a three-pointer is way short for Womack. Tejada second chance on a fall away, and that's no good either. You're going to have so many three-point shooters, you figure more shots, and when you have a great offensive rebounder like Ejiofor, who's not trying to necessarily rebound and go back up every time anymore, what can that do for St. John's and their second chance opportunities from the outside?
Well, extra possessions are at a premium in this game because it gives you another chance to score the ball. And when you have a guy like Ejiofor, who last year led the league, led the country, great pass, great cut. And we've seen a number of players make great cuts for layups and dunks. Mitchell there, and earlier it was Ruben Prey with a great cut, and Bryce Hopkins as well. But going back to your question about Ejiofor, he gives you, a boost because he gives you a chance to preserve the ball in terms of extra possessions. And last year he led the country in offensive rebounds at 4.5 a game, I think, and I could see him possibly doing that again. And you add the shooting as we watch the cut here. Great pass by Darling, and he just set that up perfectly. This is a lot of weapons here with the St. John's team from an offensive standpoint, whether on the glass, shooting the three, or playing in the paint.
Dylan Mitchell back to the bench. You have Sellers who comes back in. In place of Eben Ayo, gets a big hand and well-deserved. 9 points, 3 of 5, made 2 threes for St. John's.
Gave them a nice lift.
Now Womack in and out on the bonus trip. Save Sellers, Sanun, Darling, Ejiofor, and Hopkins. I think that was a lob, not a shot.
Yeah. Try to go high-low. A little bit too strong on the pass.
And Sanun with the foul from behind, and a bonus trip coming up.
Played here as last year. There's only 4, I think, here. 12 at the Garden, but this place is electric. The lines before the game, the crowds before the game show how excited this fan base is about the number 5 ranked team in the country.
He's smiling from above. Lost him late November, just before he turned 100. 526 wins, 52-60 here today. And here's Tejada with a free throw that's good. But the St. John's turnaround, first half, first 20 minutes, new groups, offense that's trying to find its way. 1 of 8 from 3. They were down by 8 at halftime, and they've turned it around. 61-46 lead and facing pressure here, but breaking it easily. Sellers for 3, and that's off the mark.
It's the first time we've seen the Tigers press today, and
Sec can't teach 7 feet, can you?
4-0 run for the Tigers coming out of a timeout, and now they're trying to reverse things and put the pressure on St. John's and try to come back. They're down 13 now.
Yeah, 5 seconds to get it over midcourt if you're the Johnnies. And Rick Pitino will take the timeout as a result.
Good timeout. They didn't look totally organized there. And looked like Towson kind of put them on their heels. Nice adjustment by Pat Scarry. Still a lot of time left. And you know, we're at that point of the year where there's a lot of what ifs and a lot of predictions. You know, we got media day coming up, as you said earlier, on Tuesday, and we'll see how that comes, whether it's UConn picked first or St. John's picked first. I think it could go either way. The league looks strong, and you know, it'll be interesting. I'm going to guess that for St. John's, it'll be Zuby and Bryce in attendance. And on the flip side, this Towson team, as they get ready for another strong year in the CAA, a lot of great coaches and great players there. And Pat Scarry, obviously Coach of the Year last year. You got UNC Wilmington is always really good. Drexel. It's a really good league. And I think we're going to see teams get better week to week. And certainly this St. John's team is trying to figure out what formula works as Coach Pitino draws up a play for them to be more organized in this press break.
You know, every coach says the same things on a lot of levels. We want to play faster. We love our group. The freshmen are great, but they're getting better, all that stuff. But you're around enough, you know, certain guys, they really mean it. What they feel about their players, the way it's coming together. Certainly St. John's, they love what this roster is, what it can be. But you feel that way, too, from Pat Scarry. He got 2 guys to come back, which, again, is no luxury these days in mid-major basketball. Added the right pieces, and listen, he prides his teams on defense and rebounding. That slipped a little bit last year, and he doesn't want a gentle response. He wants them to toughen up. And we're seeing more of a press now. We're seeing his team get after it. We saw what they did to Ejiofor in the first half. It'll get there. And this is that first battle test for the squad of the Coastal, the CAA.
And Nathan Farrell just pointed out that out of bounds was challenged, and it was a successful challenge. The ball goes back to Towson under their basket out of bounds.
That's kind of like a perfect challenge. You do it late,
yeah.
You get to be overturned, and you have a timeout to actually initiate.
Perfect scenario.
Remember when the NBA first instituted the challenge system?
A nice play call there.
Williamson for 3, and that's good. And the corner tray makes it a 10-point game.
That was great execution. A cross screen for Williamson, a perfect pass. And this St. John's team is back on their heels now.
Another turnover. Zuby was doubled.
Great trap by Towson and great execution by the Tigers, cutting this to a 10-point deficit.
Timeout St. John's with 3:12 left, a 61-51 lead, and we'll take a timeout as well. More to come, the finish for this exhibition on ESPN+.
In life and in business, the goalposts often move. But at Accenture, we say, game on. Because whatever goal you're heading for, together, we'll get there.
You remember that hash brown casserole, shepherd's pie? Man, that was the best. It's like I can still taste it.
Maybe because it was 5 minutes ago?
5 minutes ago is the best.
Make all the more memories over hash brown casserole, only at Cracker Barrel.
Sorry about that. We'd like to try the Monster menu.
The Monster menu at BK is frightfully fun for families of all kinds.
You rule.
You'll hit the jackpot when you finance a new Kia Sorento at A&B Kia. Get 0% interest on the new 7-passenger all-wheel drive Sorentos. Take up to $2,000 off the all-wheel drive.
Well, it's Rick. Earlier we spoke about the challenge that was won by Towson. They overturned the out-of-bounds call, leads to a 3. Set their press, get another turnover, and here they are now, down by 10.
Yeah, and let's see what they run here. They go. I want the ball in Williamson's hands or Tejada.
Tyler Tejada leans in, fades over Hopkins. Weak side tip misses. Third chance, and that goes. An 8-point game courtesy of Indefo.
I believe this is an 8-0 run by Towson here.
In about a minute's time.
Got to get the ball over to half court.
Final 2:40. Sana nearly traveled. Darling faked the lob. Here's Hopkins. Nearly slipped. Batted from edge of 4.
Shot clock winding down. 5 seconds on the clock.
Dylan Darling for edge of 4. Launches. Long bounce. Tejada's there. 2:15 to go. And Darling with the swipe at the foul. And Darling with his second. And right now, Towson in the bonus. They'll get a trip to the foul line. 1-1.
Towson just playing desperate. And they have the momentum now. St. John's has been not sharp offensively. They haven't taken care of the ball. There's still a lot of time left as Tejada tries to cut this lead to 6, or deficit to 6.
Earns another. Tejada 3 of 4 at the line today. Tariki is one of 5 players in the country who were Conference Players of the Year last season and returned to their same school. Another one of those guys is Amari Monroe from Quinnipiac. St. John's will see them on opening night, November 3rd.
Yeah, Tejada is one of those rare talents that has gotten better every year and stayed in the same school. They're going to call a foul
on Sek.
Yeah,
excuse me, on Coleman, Tyler Coleman.
Got it. Two-possession game now with 2:12 left. Darling, the graduate transfer. Tough, hard-nosed player. They're excited about his ability to lead the team, and he doesn't have to score. He just has to be solid. And he's played a lot of minutes in this second half, just out there to be a hard-nosed defender, take care of the ball, get his team organized, and make foul shots. Going to call a foul on Darling now.
Yeah, he's picked up 3 now. And with both teams in the double bonus, 2 shots now for Towson.
Yep, he held Williamson trying to break free.
I like the fact that Darling can score. He's a true point guard. Last year at Idaho State in the Big Sky, nearly 20 points per game, almost 6 assists per game. But he's going to be facing some big boys in the Big East.
Yeah, this is not Idaho State, and he knows that. He is really excited to be here on this big stage in New York City. And his role is definitely not the same. He won't be scoring 20 points a game. He'll be out here to be a role player, a guy that can control the game as a point guard.
Back in for the Tigers, number 3, Tyler Coleman.
You know, we got a game here, 6-point deficit, 6-point lead for St. John's, I mean.
Here comes the pressure. Sellers spinning. Did he travel? The tie-up and the arrow to the Red Storm. And a technical foul. Looked like it's on Indefo. And Nathan Farrell with the quick trigger on the baseline.
Yep, and you know, going back to that play, Sellers ran right into the corner. The coffin corner is what some people call it, where you get trapped and you can't go baseline because you'll be out of bounds. And the coffin corner can be by the half-court line as well, but that is a bad place to catch the ball because you leave yourself vulnerable to a trap. But
and
they
he
get bailed out.
2 free throws in a 6-point game. And Sellers so far today, 4 of 4. The Johnnies, there's the announcer jinx. Now 17 for 20 at the line. Nearly 90% though. Yeah, we'll take 1 for 2.
If you're St. John's, you get the ball back. First of all, you got to handle this pressure. And you got to have someone get to the middle of the floor and be a release man if you get trapped. Also, you want to have someone possibly go long in case Towson is too pressed up in the front.
Now, the arrow did say St. John's on the last tie-up. I think they're reversing it for the next time they need the possession. And then the technical came after that call when they thought they had the trap and traveling. Nick Rick saving his top ties and suits for the regular season, right?
Yeah, you know, he mixes it up. I mean, I don't know how they make that decision, but there'll be games when he'll be dressed, suited and booted, you know, head to toe, and in other games he'll go with the quarter zip. It's nice to have some flexibility. And they changed the possession arrow to Towson, and Towson's ball under their basket.
I like that, suited and booted.
Yeah.
Styling and profiling.
There you go.
But Tariq's version.
Here's the same play they ran a couple minutes ago.
Not this time for Williamson, but there is Sek. Schmidt for 3. And there's Darling for the rebound with under 2 left. Hopkins, home run ball, missed the dunk. On his backside, kept it alive. Up. Look out, a big flush for Hopkins.
Made sure not to miss that one, and a nice second possession by the Red Storm, and they should pull this out now.
$1:30 left. Williamson and Ejiofor cleans it up. And now just be smart if you're the Red Storm. A 9-point lead was as large as double figures. And Ejiofor is going to shoot 2 for the Johnnies with 1:01 left. Led by 17 with under 5 to go in the second half.
And Bryce Hopkins has been a bright spot today with his athleticism. One of the best athletes in the league, if not the country. And it's taken him some time to get his body back in the tip-top shape. He's feeling good and learning what it takes to be part of this Rick Pitino world. And there's a lot of talk about him coming off the bench today, but he has been impressive in the minutes he's been on the court.
Zuby at the line today. He is now 4 or 5. I love what you mentioned, too, about Hopkins and the stat believes in him. clearly the talent's there, but when you sit 2 years with a knee injury, you don't just snap your fingers and come right back. It takes a lot of time mentally and in terms of feel, right?
Absolutely. The timing and the confidence. That's the mental part is probably the most important part. Just feeling like you can be yourself without worrying and thinking about the injury. It takes a while to get over that.
Williamson scoops it in. Wow.
He's a good player. A lot to learn from this game, Ed, and this will be a great and long film session by both teams. This St. John's team will dissect this film and look at what they liked, what they didn't like. I think Coach Pitino is likely going to be harping more on the miscues than the positives because they don't have a lot of time, St. John's. They got Michigan next weekend, as we talked about, Quinnipiac to start the season. Then they got Alabama at the Garden November 8th. Ooh. Another powerhouse team with a well-coached program in Nate Oates.
Man, you think about just the pressure they're facing now. You go against Nate Oates, you go against Chris Beard and Ole Miss pretty soon. You go against Kevin Willard twice a year, Richard Pitino twice a year.
Yeah. Kevin Willard like another son to Coach Pitino.
And late chance of air ball for Tejada. I think when play really gets going, there are not going to be many of those in his line. The reigning conference player of the year. Hedger for exclamation points.
Touchdown. Beautiful pass. And a beautiful finish.
And a swat by Hopkins. One more time. The finish for Sellers.
And what a play by Hopkins. He's playing great team basketball.
Nice reversal. This kid's going to be good.
He has been a revelation.
Final second, and that's it. Let's get to Michigan. Let's get to the regular season. Red Storm, it wasn't pretty the entire time, but a 10-point win today, Tariq, against the Towson Tigers.
Well, most importantly for St. John's is they won the game, but they're going to learn a lot about where they can improve and what they need to do to take a step further as they get ready for